All right, welcome back to another games that I enjoyed this week. I changed the name since last time, so it's no longer games that impressed me this week, but now it's games that I enjoyed this week. I just thought that I don't know, it sounded better, right? Yeah, so there's no games that disappointed me this week. Not enough that they would be put at the end of this video, but I did enjoy a few games this week, less than normal maybe, but yeah, there's some here that I thought would be worth mentioning. So yeah, enjoy, and we'll just get straight into it. So, Dead Island 2 has its fair share of issues. The development that this game went through is incredibly evident in the final release. This is a much more bare bones game than you would probably like, but that doesn't mean I haven't enjoyed it. The problems generally stem from a lack of depth, but for me, the larger problems come in the form of forced anti-aliasing, shoddy performance, and a movement and combat mechanic system that don't quite add up to be all that satisfying. In fact, I'm quite harsh on this game overall, but that didn't stop me from enjoying it, and that seems to be the sentiment from everyone who's played it. It's got problems, but it's still fun and enjoyable to wander around in and kill zombies. The gore system in this plays a big part without a doubt. It's by far one of the most impressive systems for gore in gaming as a whole, and while the mechanics aren't Counter-Strike level fluid, the combat is fun enough to keep you engaged. For full price, I'd only buy it if you're a Dead Island fan, otherwise wait for a sale and for a few patches to come out to clear up the issues. Other than that, I enjoyed it. Maybe it would have gone in the disappointed section if it was a little worse, but I still enjoyed it, and I can't deny that, so here it is. I had fun with it. Next, I want to talk about Desktop Dungeons Rewind. It's not your traditional dungeon crawler, instead it has an emphasis on being a puzzle game. That usually wouldn't sway me to check it out, but Desktop Dungeons Rewind will satisfy your desire for the traditional experience, where you are picking up loot, leveling up, getting stronger, and exploring the dungeon, while simultaneously making you think about your movements. You click around the dungeon to move around, and the goal is to manage your movements and resources enough to be able to complete the dungeon. So for example, if you move around too much, then you'll have no tiles left to discover, and discovering tiles refills your HP and mana. You will need to make sure your moves are deliberate because you're treating the dungeon as a resource that you'll need to be strong enough to defeat it. But so far, it isn't super heavy on the puzzle side of things. It's not mind-meltingly difficult, it's just the right amount of challenging, and a run is usually super quick too. There's also multiple different elements of progression and a whole cast of classes and kin to change up how you play. So yeah, definitely worth checking out if you're into a mixture of both puzzle and dungeon crawler. Alright, I know what you're saying. Why the hell are you talking about Realm of the Mad God? Didn't this come out years ago? Isn't this that shitty pixel game? Surely you can't be serious. Well, I'm dead serious. I played a considerable amount of hours of this game, and when I was grinding this game hard, I really enjoyed it. Now it's moved hands into Deca, a company that has taken better care of it than any before, and who have also properly modernized the game and continue to update it to keep it relevant. This is one of the most underrated MMOs out there in my opinion. It has its quirks that make it less desirable to people, like the pixel art graphics and the permadeath aspect, but all the things that might turn you away from the game are also the things that make the game what it is. It's a bullet hell MMO. You make a character, you level up, you get better loot, you take on harder dungeons to get even better loot, eventually you'll max your character, which will allow you to take on even harder dungeons for better loot, and now you can get exaltations on your characters, and there's just so much that has been done for the game since Deca took over, including a move to the Unity engine. Previously it was on Flash, so that was a pretty big move. There is also a huge update coming sometime later this year, which should drastically change the way the game is played to make it even better, and more accessible, which I think is the main thing. I know I just spent a long time trying to protect this game, and that's because it has a special place in my heart. It's an MMO with hundreds of hours of playtime if you get into it, so just keep it in the back of your mind. So I generally don't play RTS games, my brain isn't really built for them, but Against the Storm has been fun for me. Maybe it's the roguelike structure that captures me or the abundance of progression and replayability. It's probably a combination of all those things that have made me try a genre that I'd usually shy away from. If you like RTS, you'll probably love this game. I'm not going to pretend like I'm having an easy time managing my city or my resources or even understanding the game, but that doesn't mean I'm not having fun. Your fight in this game is against the clock. You have to fill up your blue bar before the red bar fills up. You will do things to lower the red bar and increase the blue, and the world around you will slowly and sometimes quickly increase the red bar. They have names, I just forgot what they were. You have access to different types of people, lizards, beavers, humans, and they all have their own unique requirements for happiness and things like that. I know I'm explaining it terribly, but I'm still learning this game and it's pretty complex generally like this genre is, so yeah, forgive me. Either way, it has all the fundamentals of a city builder RTS. I suppose the main goal is to complete your orders. These orders are how you finish the run. After the run, you can collect your rewards from deeds, which are essentially achievements, and then spend your currency to upgrade your citadel, which gives you access access to all sorts of things to help you in your runs. I haven't played too much of it, which is probably why I've given a lackluster explanation, but I have enjoyed it, and so if you've enjoyed RTS and city builders in the past, then this is a good spin on that with a roguelike formula mixed in. So I've enjoyed it, and I thought I'd mention it here. So I was interested in playing Stardew Valley only because it looked like it had an incredibly high amount of stuff to do, and it looked like a fun completionist game. But I haven't got into it yet, and I don't know if I will anytime soon, but I was still looking for a game like that to play, and Graveyard Keeper has filled that role nicely. It's definitely got the same vibe and fundamentals, but of course, it changes things up and does its own unique things as well. Essentially, you are now the new Graveyard Keeper, and you need to maintain it, all while crafting, building relationships, completing quests, and exploring the world. It's quaint, it's relaxing, it's satisfying, and I love the pixel art visuals. I don't know if it's harder to get into than Stardew Valley. I saw one Steam review say that it was, but I haven't struggled too much so far. Bring up the wiki and generally you'll do just fine in a game like this. It also seemingly has a lot more playtime than the initial few hours might allude to. There just seems to be more and more and more and more to do as your playthrough gets longer, so you know that your money will be well spent. So that's it for this week. Only 5 games, but I just didn't play as much as I thought I would. Plus, my bank account isn't endless. I can't just buy games and try them and enjoy them and then talk about them. I have to be reasonable, right? But yeah, if you enjoyed, subscribe, follow my Twitch, follow my Twitter, and have a great day. See you later.